I'm so excited for day two. Had lots of downloads and revelations yesterday, so I'm really excited to connect today and connect the dots. So I just want everybody to just ground themselves, just be where you are, be in your body. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Fill your belly and just let it out. Just let it go. Right. So first question, did anybody do last night's homework? Just pop in the chat. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Yes, no, no judgment. This is just awareness. All right. All right. You did half of it. Awesome. Great. Okay. I'm gonna move this over here so I can read it better. Okay, great. All right. Well, here's the truth. So this all comes down to being accountable for yourself, right? Like how many of you are truly moving forward towards your goals? Just drop in the chat, you know, me, like you are truly moving in the direction of your goals. How many of you guys are frustrated that the help that you have received just doesn't seem to be working? Anybody? Anybody frustrated? Not yet. Yes, frustrated. Yes. You know, I totally get it. And that's okay. Like, right? There's no judgment. That's where we've all been there. And a lot of us are there right now. Like, this is a part of the process. And knowing where you are, starting right where you are, is the name of the game. Right. So when you can actually see it, when you can see that you're stuck and you can acknowledge that you're aware of it, this is when you're in your power to change it. And that's what this workshop is all about, right? You showed up. So here's what I notice a lot in my live sessions. Many of us are still so in our heads, right? We're just stuck in a loop in our heads. We're still asking all of these mental questions instead of just breathing. And we're still trying to figure out why instead of just being present. And like, I get it. I've been there. I am there. I'm there often, right? Like I was a biology psychology major. Like I love analyzing. That is like my go-to place, but it doesn't get me anywhere. And we're human, so this is absolutely going to happen. Old habits and behaviors die hard, right? These are very deeply rooted paths. So, as we said yesterday, right, what are we? We're a combination of our habits and behaviors. So, when I'm stuck in my head, I choose to notice and adjust, right? Like it's that simple. That's the connection. Okay. Nothing to question, just everything to feel and reclaim. So here's the thing, like I'm not above you, I'm not below you, I'm not ahead of you, I'm not behind you. Like I am you. This is a shared experience. We mirror back to each other ourselves. It's feedback. This is how it works. So as someone who's often exactly where you are, I've started to get really curious about my belief that like something's not working. And I've come to realize that for myself, that I'm usually the one blocking myself. I'm blocking abundance. I'm blocking my health. I'm blocking my joy because I'm avoiding some kind of discomfort. That's what we do. And I desire the most for all of us to be living our dream lives, right? That's why we're here. That's why we show up for these workshops, and why we enroll in things, because we want our lives to be better, to be different than what they are. Um, and so oftentimes what we have learned along the way, like in the course of our lifetime, often in childhood, that at some point or another, it didn't feel safe to like have and feel or express all the things that we were feeling, all of our emotions. Um, so oftentimes when, and this is why I think a lot of people say that they're, oh, I'm not good at breath work, is that when they go to breathe and they go to regulate and they become present, they get like a little taste of that presence. They're like, oof, like that feels really hard. Um, because when we breathe, we really feel. And when we feel, sometimes that feels unsafe because that is a pattern, a conditioning that has happened over the course of our lives. This is the loop that we find ourselves in. And so this is why we've all mastered shallow breathing, right? Like humans are the most shallow breathing mammals. This allows us to like really stay disconnected from our bodies and to stay up in our heads. And when we're up in our heads, this allows us to distract ourselves from all the things that we're feeling. And we are a physical being. We are meant to be somatic and in our bodies. So this creates like this loop of thinking and frantically trying to figure everything out all the time. And it really avoids, ironically, the very thing that will set us free, which is presence, right? Just a deep breath, really feeling grounded in your body and connecting to everything that it has to offer you. And by staying out of groundedness and out of presence and in dysregulation, there's definitely a cost to it, which I think we can all relate to, right? And the fact is, you're going to expand regardless. Energy expands. So that's just what it does. And when you're not present, you simply expand in ways that you don't want, right? Non-presence, sort of like this hell loop, this loop, this hamster wheel of your life. Your desires are still going to be there no matter how much you try and squash them. Your emotions are still going to show up. They'll just show up somewhere else. No matter how much you try and bypass them, they don't go away. They just reflect your reality as like things that you don't prefer, things that you didn't want, things that are total pain in the butt, things that keep coming back to you that you're like, I don't want this. And more importantly, the things that stay out of reach are the things that you really want. So this is the cost of not being present. So notice where your resistance shows up, right? It's information. You don't have to judge it. It's neutral. It's just information. Our body is like this, like a switchboard to try and communicate with what is really, really going on. And getting present through your breath by regulating your nervous system, like this has the power to radically change your life as it did mine. So, okay, let's quickly recap what we did yesterday, right? You're a combination of your behaviors and habits, right? You change them and you can change your identity and your results. Your relationship with yourself really determines your results in your health, in your wealth, in your relationships. And depression is ruminating in the past. Anxiety is fearing the future. And presence, where everything is actually happening, is now. So that's what we're going to build on today. That's today's foundation. We're going to be focusing on connecting the dots to the mechanics, how limiting beliefs are created, what the costs and the payoffs are of those, and how to unstick ourselves. Okay. So let's first get you guys going with a little breath work exercise. Today, we're going to be doing a 4-6-8. This is the natural tranquilizer. Okay. This is my favorite. This is my go-to. Everybody, you know, is always going to be partial to something for whatever reason. It just feels the best in your body. This one is mine. This one I do in the morning. This one I do in the evening. This one I do when I'm unloading the dishwasher. Like when I'm driving, this is my go-to. I'm going to again drop the contraindications. Sorry, the contraindications into the chat like I did yesterday. In case anybody has any of those, again, just simply breathe in and out and avoid any of the holds, okay? So this natural tranquilizer can be done in and out through the nose or in through the nose and out through the mouth in a pattern of 4, in for 4, hold for 6, release for 8. So let's begin by taking a nice, deep cleansing breath all the way to the bottom of your belly. Expand in through your nose and just let it out through your mouth. A rested, rejuvenated body stops creating a mind that lives in survival. If your body is tired, your mind tends to start racing and catastrophizing. This is its default, which is why rest is pivotal to unlocking your true potential. So if you haven't done so already, let your eyes close softly, like snowflakes falling on the earth, and just notice your natural, normal breath. Now, together, let's breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Just continue. As you inhale, really draw the breath deep into your belly. Feel it expand. Soften your shoulders. And as you exhale, draw your belly button back towards your spine. Loosen your lungs. Loosen your jaw. Continue with your breath at your own pace. And if your mind wanders, perfect. Bring your attention back to the sensation of the breath. Noticing anywhere there is tension, and softening and loosening. Feel your nervous system settling. Feel your body creating safety. And feel yourself becoming present. Return to your normal breath. And when you're ready, slowly bring your awareness back to the room, gently touching your thumb to your index finger. Notice the texture, wiggling your toes. And open your eyes, carrying this sense of presence with you. How does everyone feel? Next, calm. Lovely. Oh, okay. Let's go deeper. So building on yesterday, what I told you, that you're a combination of your behaviors and habits. Yay, Nessie. Today, we're talking about how to change those behaviors and habits and create a new path forward, a new you. So this isn't about judging yourself, and it's about letting go of limiting beliefs that hold you back, right? This is at the core of it. Labels and complaints can create identities as opposed to just information. And I'm going to share my screen because I have figured out how to do this. Just to highlight some things as I talk through them. Okay. So I said I know how to do this, and then I do. Here we go. Okay. Who can see my screen? Yes. Awesome. Great. Okay. So, yay, I told you I figured it out. All right. So, in order to change something, right, you must first accept it, you must become aware of it. So, chains are limiting beliefs, right? They create a story of why you can't do something, right? They're passed down typically from someone else who is also enslaved by the same belief, the same limiting belief, the same chain. Chains block real action. Okay, this is where we get stuck. If you complain about not having the result, then there is a chain there, a limiting belief that is holding you back. If you blame others, there's a chain holding you back there, right? And the more chains that you have, the more you take on, the more they grow, the stronger they get, right? It makes sense. So The thing is, the tricky part about the chains, the limiting beliefs, is that they're unconscious and they only become conscious when you become aware of it. This is what the breath work and nervous system regulation allows you to do. Okay. So let me wait till I get there. So if you want to become aware, right, this is the first step. This is usually where a lot of people get stuck. If you really want to become aware of your chain, your limiting belief, the things that hold you back, you need to be able to see the chain first, but you can't get to see the chain unless you get grounded into your body. And we do that through breathing. So let's talk about quickly why it's so important to really become aware of these chains in order to break them, right? Because let's talk about what the cost is. The costs of having these chains, these limiting beliefs, right? These are the payoffs. So the desire to be right and make somebody else wrong. This is the number one payoff for holding on to a limiting belief, right? This is like the ego's best friend. The ability to make somebody else wrong and for you to be right. This is what gets most people in the world, not only in the most trouble, but like so dug in and stuck in their life. This is the number one. The second big payoff is to avoid, right? We love to avoid things that make us uncomfortable, things that create discomfort. A lot of times this is responsibility, action. So this is another really big payoff of hanging on to those limiting beliefs and those chains. The third one is justification. So this is where this is another, I mean, they're all ego-based, but like this is another really, really interesting one because this is where you collect reasons and evidence and other people who also agree with you that you are right, right? See, everybody agrees with me. I'm right. Like I have collected now in my life all of this evidence for why I'm right. And that must mean something. And then the fourth one is invalidation and self-pity. So that comes in the form of like, poor me, this is just how it is. I can't change it. You know, this is how it's always been. This is how it will always be. So these are all the payoffs. So the costs of all of this, oh my gosh, the cost of complaining is what is really happening in your body. So let's just take a look at that slide. So when you're complaining, as we've all experienced, creates a stress response, right? It puts you into a fight or flight, protection and survival, stress responses, adrenal stress, right? Lack of energy. It creates exhaustion. It depletes your energy, right? It's draining and it keeps you in this survival mode. When you shift from complaining to like ownership and responsibility, you shift from your sympathetic nervous system into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest, rest and relaxation. This is where growth and development happen. This is where your immune function increases. You have optimal digestion, optimal energy. This creates an environment where change and progress can really flourish. So that is to say that if you continue to repeat the same complaints, right? If you're finding that you are constantly complaining about the same things, which I know we can all relate to. I mean, you could be complaining about the same things for years, for decades. It's going to result in an overused and exhausted nervous system. Okay. So that is going to start looking like, which you might all already relate to, and a nervous system that is overused, right? So poor attention, easily distracted, disorganized, lack of motivation, no focus, spaciness, constipation, low pain threshold. And then there's, bigger ones, migraines, seizures, headaches, sleepwalking, food sensitivities, mood swings, panic attacks. There's a whole list of what your nervous system and your body, your somatic experience will create when your nervous system is being overused, right? An exhausted nervous system, this is where real dis-ease occurs. Cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, depression, like chronic fatigue syndrome. These are results of a nervous system that is so tapped out, it's exhausted. This is some signs of this are like when you feel like you just can't switch off, right? You're exhausted, but you can't sleep. You're anxious and restless and irritable all the time. Your mind races. You have really shallow sleep, right? You never feel rested. Your muscles are tight. Maybe you clench your jaw a lot, and you find if you become aware enough that you're like a really shallow breather. So an overused nervous system, it can be like the equivalent of a car being stuck with the accelerator down in neutral, right? Like it's just revving and it's not going anywhere. An exhausted nervous system is like a car that's just completely run out of gas. Like it's depleted, it's empty. So there's just nothing left to give. Here's the shift. So when you acknowledge your complaints, you are set free. This is when you're able to drop into your body, acknowledge and accept, and regulate your nervous system. And this is going to produce feelings of high energy, right? You're going to have fewer symptoms. Your immune system is going to function better. You're going to have a much brighter outlook on life, right? This is where we really open to possibilities. So when you're able to really regulate and stay connected with your body, this is when you get to really get creative and open and see and be connected to all of the possibilities that are around you in your life. You can have excellent health. You can be active and vibrant, mentally alert, grounded and present. So this is what creates that. This is how you get there. Healing begins the moment we stop needing to be right and we start choosing to be responsible. Let that really, really land. That's when love, vitality, and fulfillment will return. Okay. Letting go of needing to be right and starting to choose to be responsible. So this is how we're going to start connecting the dots of the why and how of the do and the doing. Okay. This is my favorite part. So the why and the how of the the doing part with the why and the how of the being part. Okay. So this is why most people are stuck. And this is how you get unstuck, right? This is the mechanics of it. So you can, the mechanics of, I like to remind people, right? We live in a society where we are so programmed to have all the things, that we have unfortunately reversed the mantra of the be, do, have. And we have created a have, do, be, right? So many people are thinking that once I have X, then I can do Y, and then I can be Z, right? Like once I have this, then I can do this, and then I can be that kind of person. And the truth is, like, that's just not how it works. You have to be first, then you do, then you have the life that you want. Okay. So it starts with the being. So let's connect the dots even further. If you have the instructions of how to get unstuck, right? So when we regulate, through breath work, we recalibrate our nervous system. Okay. And in order to create safety in our body so that we could release and move what it's really been carrying all of these years. Because as much as we think that we have processed something, and I mean, of course, there's times that you have, but a lot of times, like we think that we're over something, maybe because it's just like not at the forefront of our mind anymore. But unless you've like really taken the time to sit in it and to sit in the discomfort and let your body process it so that it can release it, your body just holds onto it and carries it around. It carries it in its fascia. It's cellular. Like it just doesn't go anywhere. It just that's where the term baggage comes from. Like you're just carrying around all this baggage. So you need to regulate your nervous system so that you can sit and tolerate and be in the discomfort so that you can actually let it go, release it. Okay. And you can move what you've been carrying. So this is the most important step. When you create safety through breath work, you create a path for your body to really express and communicate with you. This is when your truth, your purpose, your path really becomes clear. This is when things become aligned and become easy. So doing this work, moving through and connecting to your body is really where you create the clarity, right? You don't get clear first and then move. This is what everybody wishes would happen. They're like, if I just need to get clear. Once I get clear, then I can take the next step. That would be awesome if that's how it worked. But that's not how it works. You have to move, meaning you have to regulate, you have to process, then you get clear. Okay. Everybody wants to be comfortable doing the things that they're uncomfortable with first before they do them. They're like, well, as soon as I get good at that, that's when I'm going to do it. It's like, well, how do you get good at anything if you don't practice it, right? That's just not how it works. You get comfortable doing uncomfortable things from doing uncomfortable things. Like you just, there's no way around that. You can't skirt it. So when you get caught and stuck in your like over analyzing, right? You can pause. Just notice, whoa, I am circling the drain here. I am in a tizzy, like I'm going nowhere really, really fast. Pause and breathe until your heart rate slows down, your heart rate and your pulse, just like we did today. Like it doesn't always take, you don't always need a 5 to 7 minute guided meditation. You can literally do it in a minute with yourself. And obviously, the more you practice it, the better at it you get, the quicker you can regulate your nervous system. So, this is where you can really start, right? Then you can really give your body and your mind a chance to connect, right? You can listen. This is where they say, oh, if you just listen. Well, if you're not getting quiet enough and not getting regulated enough to listen, you won't hear anything. So you just got to give yourself a minute and a beat to bring these two things together, right? We are one whole being, but we love to compartmentalize, but we're not compartmentalized. We are one whole active unit. But we have programmed ourselves to shut this part off and shut ourselves off from our intuition and not listen to it. Like our programming we've been trained to have it be overridden. And that's what prevents the version of yourself that's being called into the light. This is the only way that your truth will really shine through is if you connect the two pieces of yourself. So here's the formula. Okay. Because we all love formulas. So the only way to change your beliefs is to, right, A, become aware of it, right? To become aware of the behaviors that created the negative beliefs. To retrain your behaviors over time with new frameworks, right? Through action, accountability for your new actions, making sure that you do it, right? It's really, really hard to make progress if you're not accountable to anybody. And at some point, the goal is to be able to be accountable to yourself. But again, that takes practice. So oftentimes you need somebody else to be accountable to make sure that you are showing up for yourself. And then, of course, a supportive environment, a supportive community that you're a part of where you're around like-minded people who are on the same track, trying to go in the same direction. That's always super, super helpful. So okay, so again, those are like part of the mechanics, but what allows us to be aware and to retrain and be accountable? Hmm? The only way to do that is to regulate your nervous system. Okay? This is the path. And this is usually like the biggest missing step. There are so many programs out there that teach you the do part, right? The do. But they've skipped the be part, how to be. I love this quote from Einstein. He said, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking used to create them." So change requires a new perspective, a higher consciousness, right? That's where the regulation really, really begins, right? Um, so let's see, we've connected the dots on the be, do, have, and I want to get into talking a little bit more about your hardware and software. Okay. So, as I said, skipping this part of regulating your nervous system is often in my experience, I have found to be like the missing piece. It's just never used or integrated. And in my experience, personally, and with my clients, that you can teach and intellectualize all day long why this is how you retrain and this is how you do this and this is how you do that. But if you're not regulating first, it's just not sticking. It might stick for like a month or two, and you might just be like, yes. And then you will find that like these behaviors all of a sudden will start to percolate up again. And you're like, darn it, I've totally thought that I crushed that like that was gone. Okay. So here's the analogy of your, as I referenced yesterday, like your physical brain is the hardware and your mind is the software. Okay. So I just feel like we're all on computers, and this is always like a really, really great analogy. So if your mind is the software and desperately needs to be updated, and you have the programming to do it, okay? But guess what you don't have if you're not regulating? You don't have the password, right? It's a password protective security wall. And the password is nervous system regulation. So you may have tried like laying down new programming. You may have tried like a lot of different mantras and lists and vision boards and right things that are designed to rewire your brain. Okay. But if you are trying to lay all of that new software down on a computer who doesn't have any like available working memory, there's no RAM, and the little computer wheel is just spinning, 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 it's never going to update. It's just it's like you're going to upload it, and it's not going to be retrievable. Like you're like, where did it go? It didn't go anywhere. Okay. So the only way to like really access and get into laying down all of this new software is through nervous system regulation, right? And you access that by breath work, right? So there's no point in doing all this work and trying to retrain your brain with all this amazing new like how to do if you're not even if you don't even really have access to your nervous system. Okay, it does end up kind of like being a total waste of time. So this is why breath work is imperative. Like I said yesterday, it's your password to your software update. So important. So when you combine breath work with mindset work, it allows your nervous system to really release the emotional charge that is related or tied to that event, which is creating your limiting belief or your block, right? This not only allows you to rewrite the belief, the new software, but it pulls the emotional charge out of it, right? The trigger. This is like when you really know that you've processed something. Um, when you get confronted with something from your past and nothing. You have like, you have no physical response. That's when you know you're like, oh, I'm over that. I have fully processed that. Okay. So that's like a really good litmus test in your life. If you think that you've processed something, but it's still triggering you, then you haven't, your body has not let it go. It has not processed it. Really, really great indicator. Okay. So I'm definitely tracking today on my time. So if you're not somatically releasing it from your body, you are not actually moving forward, right? You're not making progress in life. This is how you become, this is why you feel like you're stuck in this hamster loop. But when you do hamster wheel, but when you do somatically release your body, then you're able to move forward, make progress in your life. And this is how you really do become unstuck and unstoppable, right? You have these tools that every time something triggers you, you have tools to regulate your nervous system, become aware, retrain your thinking, move it through your body, and move forward. Okay. So, so when we did, if for those of you that did do the homework, um, when you wrote down like what your complaints were, this is a really great place to start. Okay. This is again, all of the homework, everything that we're practicing here, it's information. Okay. It's providing you information. So a lot of your complaints, these are where you're stuck, right? This is where your limiting beliefs are. Maybe it's like, I never have enough time. What belief is that creating? What do I need to believe in to have time, right? I can't afford that. What belief um, is creating that scarcity mindset? What could abundance feel like? Like it's a great place to start to be like, okay, so these are nice little mile markers of where I'm stuck. It's a great place to start your breath work. Regulate your nervous system, get under these complaints, find the truth around your limiting beliefs. And this is where really stepping into your responsibility and accountability for your life really comes into play. Okay. You're the only person responsible for your happiness. That's it. You create your reality. You are 100% responsible. And the sooner that you embrace that and see that as a place of power, the sooner you will shift your life, the sooner you will take control back. It's liberating. In the beginning, it feels scary. Like it is something that I write down in my journal every single day. Today is going to be a great day. I am 100% responsible and accountable for my life. Period. Those are my first two sentences in my journal every day. We create our reality. We are in control of how we perceive things and how we move through this world, how much awareness we are going to give ourselves through regulation. It's a gift. It's a gift. It's miraculous. So if you really want to shift your life and you want lasting results, you need to build these long-term skills and practices, right? They're not hacks, they're not shortcuts, they're practices, they're skills. And how do you build? How do you get good at something? You practice. Practice, 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 right? Talent is just habit and behavior over a really long period of time. That's it. There's nothing special about it. That's just what it is. So you're never naturally good at anything. You could be naturally a little bit better than than the next person who started at the same time, but you're not naturally a professional at anything. Nobody is. Nobody is. Okay. We are all the same that way. So that's why practicing nervous system regulation and listening to your body and intuition really, really, truly becomes a game changer, right? A regulated nervous system doesn't argue, it acts, right? The goal here is to extend your ability to stay consistent in order to achieve your goals over time. Okay, that's what we're doing here when we expand our nervous system. The only way to stay consistent, which is what we need to find success in our life, is to regulate your nervous system so that you can become aware of your blocks and your self-sabotage as they present themselves. Because let's be honest, like it's never one and done, right? Life is, right? It's organic. It's always happening. You're going to get rid of old triggers and you're going to gain new ones through different experiences. So these are tools that allow you in real time to respond and interact with your life so that you can constantly like keep yourself on the course and in the direction of where you want to go, right? It's not a destination, it's a direction. So I'm going to leave you with this. I'm just doing so much better on time today. I'm so proud of myself. Um, so homework is go ahead and look at your self-relationship assessment. So if you didn't do it, do it. The self-relationship assessment is awesome because it's really just informational feedback for yourself. It gives you just feedback about how you personally are and how you respond to things. I think it's awesome. It's fun and it shines some light on your personality. So go ahead and look at your circles of interference and support, right? Look at your goals. Now, it may have been pretty challenging for some of you guys to get really, really clear on your goals. I totally expected that, right? Or you thought your goal was something, but like when you really went down to write it down, you're like, that's not really my goal. That's because if you're not attuned with yourself and your heart, your mind could be telling you that you want one thing, but your heart is telling you that you want another. And the only way to bring these into coherence is if you settle down, connect into your body, breathe, regulate your nervous system, and get still so that you can hear. So practice that. Do a breath work, really sit with the question of like, what are my goals? So you can get really, really clear on that. Um, Journal prompt is if you had support, guidance, and accountability, what could you accomplish in the next 90 days? Okay. So tomorrow is day 3, the final day. I'm so excited. We're going to be going over stepping outside of your comfort zone, modeling the success formula, and of course, offer and bonuses. Super, super duper bonus. Don't forget about your breathwork tool that you learned today, the 468. Love, love, love. Use this throughout your day, through tomorrow, whenever you notice procrastination, internal arguing, resistance to action. Resistance to action. That's a big one. And emotional dysregulation. See if you can catch it. See if you can notice when you're feeling that way, and then pausing, doing your 4-6-8 breathing for like 10 rounds. Count on your finger. Just do 10 rounds and see how it affects you. Okay? Oh my gosh, we're early. Yeah. Okay, guys, this was amazing. Um, okay, wait. Charlene, sorry I was on a different screen. Um, Let me go to Charlene and then I'll go to Acer. Okay, may I ask something, please? Is breaking down and crying because of a difficult situation a form of regulation? Okay, that's a great question. So, if you're breaking down and crying because of a difficult situation, that is a perfectly healthy response to a difficult situation. Okay. That is allowing your body space to process a very difficult situation. The problem that we have created for ourselves in the culture that most of us have been raised in is that we were taught as we were children and growing up that having tantrums, crying, being difficult, having big emotions was too much for our grown-up counterparts to handle. They weren't convenient. They were labeled inappropriate. This isn't the time for that. I don't have the time for this. Why are you acting like a child to a child, right? Like having normal, very big emotional outbursts in response to a difficult situation is exactly how we were made and designed. So the more space you give yourself to just feel that without judgment, without being like, without analyzing, without, trying to decode it. Oh, well, maybe rationalizing it, like just being in it, just sitting in the discomfort, sitting in the sadness, sitting in the grief, not trying to fix it, just being is the best way to honor your somatic experience and actually allow your body to process the moment, process the situation. That is the way that you process and let go of. Okay. So, for a lot of people who, for decades in their life, have not allowed themselves to process difficult situations in the moment, they're like, this is me 100%. I will come back to this later when I have time and when it's more convenient and when I'm in private. And then guess what happens? I never went back. I just muscled through. I just muscled through, do it yourself, get her done, go to the next thing, fix it, move on. Okay. Yeah, that didn't serve me at all. And what that creates is just this baggage, like all of that trauma, from little traumas to big traumas, like they don't go anywhere. They just like sit with you, like poking and waiting to be seen and heard and released. So, Charlene, that's like the best way. That is absolutely regulation. And for some of you guys, like that is what regulation is going to look like for you from here going forward, right? Like sitting, doing breath work and sitting with yourself is most likely going to trigger a somatic experience that is full of grief, full of sadness, full of emotion, because your body's been harboring it for so long and it just needs to be seen, heard, and released. And then once you do it, you get to let it go. And sometimes there's layers to that, right? It's not always just one and done. Sometimes it just takes like peeling back, peeling back, peeling back. But remember, this is you. You're in service to yourself. The sooner you understand that relationship, the better you can then serve others. You can serve your partner, you can serve your family, you can serve your children, you can serve your community. That's how it works. But you have to take care of yourself first. You have to regulate and release in order to be your best version so that you can serve others, right? You have to be in service to yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. And that's what that does. Um, Acer, I'll just jump back really quickly. Can you give an example of acknowledging a complaint? Acknowledging a complaint, oh, I never have enough time. I'm always so exhausted. Um, I'm not smart enough, right? I don't have all the information. So things that you complain about, acknowledging it, it's like, okay, where is my limiting belief, right? This chain that's holding me to this thought, right? You do have enough time. We have we have the time that we need because we create time. You get really clear and honest with how you're using your time, right? Who is sucking your time and who is feeding into it? How can you protect your time? How can you create your time that you need to do the things that fill you up? I mean, this is another discussion about like, linear time versus relative time, but this is, acknowledging your complaints is getting really honest with what it is you're complaining about, figuring out what the attachment to the limiting belief that's keeping you in that mindset, getting regulated around that to see how you can, how that limiting belief was software put into your brain and how now you have the opportunity to completely reframe that. So hopefully that helps. Okay, guys, still on time. I love it. All right, guys, so show up tomorrow, do your homework, and keep breathing. Really, really find that mind body connection, right? We are all one. So ignoring this giant other part of you is doing such a disservice to yourself and to the world, right? Because the world needs each and every one of us. It needs your uniqueness. And you can't really be showing up as your best self if you've only got like a quarter of you showing up, right? That's why you're stuck. That's why you're not getting where you want to go in life, right? So keep breathing, keep showing up, and I will see you, beautiful people, tomorrow. Okay? Awesome. I'm so glad you liked it. Yes, more tomorrow. Bye, everybody.